Up next, we have Joci. Joci Scott is an actress, singer, dancer, and content creator based in Los Angeles. She became paralyzed at 20 years old after sustaining a T12 spinal cord injury when her family survived a plane crash and has adjusted to life with a disability. Despite not seeing people using wheelchairs in her favorite movies and TV shows, Joci was determined to keep following her dream of being an actress. Her goals are to pursue acting and advocate for equal and authentic representation and entertainment for people with disabilities. She founded the Rolettes Dance Company and has been a dance team member since 2021, empowering women through dance and community. Recently, she married her high school sweetheart and accomplished her goal of walking down the aisle using orthotic leg braces. Joci is a finalist for the Best Actor Award in the 2023 Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. Accompanying her is Simon. Thank you so much, Joci.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joci. Like she said before, I'm an actress, singer, dancer, and content creator based here in Los Angeles. And I'm here today to talk about my story of survival and perseverance and how I found my purpose because of it. I grew up in Akron, Ohio, and I went on to attend The Ohio State University to study psychology and theater. I was lucky enough to find what I was passionate about at a young age, performing, but I felt like I had to have a backup plan because the entertainment industry is so unpredictable. So my life plan was to go to grad school, become a psychologist, and maybe do some community theater on the side. As you can probably guess, that didn't end up happening. On July 19th, 2019, between my second and third years of college, my family was in a small plane crash while traveling from our home in Ohio to Rhode Island. It was an ordinary day and flying was no big deal to us, but I could sense that the situation was becoming dire until we ultimately made an emergency landing in Poughkeepsie, New York, just 2 miles short of the nearest airport runway. I knew immediately once I tried to stand up to get out of the plane that something was wrong with me because I couldn't move my legs. I was taken to the hospital and they determined that I fractured one of my lumbar vertebrae and there was likely damage to my spinal cord. I was rushed into a 7-hour surgery to fuse my spine and correct the fracture. The next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital a few days later, and my mom is talking to me about taking the semester off of college, spending 2 months in the hospital, and the doctors told me it was unlikely that I would ever walk again. It felt like all of my dreams had been ripped away from me. I'd never dance again, I'd never be able to be in a theater production again, I'd never get to walk the stage at my college graduation or walk down the aisle on my wedding day. I didn't understand why this happened to me of all people because it seemed so random and it didn't feel like I had done anything to deserve it. I didn't understand how my body could fail me, how I could be an extremely healthy and active 20-year-old girl one minute and then the next, unable to walk. I went to a physical rehab center in New Jersey to learn how to do activities of daily living, like getting in and out of bed, getting in and out of the shower, going to the bathroom by myself. Their goal at the rehab center was to help me become as independent as possible so that I could live an independent lifestyle. I stayed there for 2 months, and when I got home, I still had a lot of physical therapy to do, outpatient, but it was time to do mental health therapy as well to start addressing some of the trauma. My therapist described my trauma not as just the incident of the plane crash, but also my injury and how I was relearning to do everything in my life. That every day I would wake up and it was like a new trauma. All I wanted to do was go back to school, so I kept pushing it off. And ultimately that ended up making it harder for me. Just when it seemed like I had nothing good in my life, I was invited by my community theater to perform in a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I said yes, mainly so I would have something to do other than go to physical therapy. But I was really scared that I was gonna look bad and that people were gonna look at me and think, oh, that's the girl in the wheelchair. I thought I would embarrass myself, but my family encouraged me and said that I shouldn't worry about that I really just need to do something that I truly loved. So I realized that even though my legs weren't working, my face was, and that's what makes me a good performer. So I decided to just work really hard at adapting the choreography, and I had so much fun. I started to rediscover my love for theater through that production in my new body. I got to go back to school that January, surprising all of my physical therapists and occupational therapists with my level of independence so soon. And then, as we all know, the world shut down in March 2020, and I was sent right back home. Except this time, I really had nothing going on. I spiraled into a deep depression. I only left my house for counseling and physical therapy. I couldn't see anyone outside of my immediate family, especially not my boyfriend, who was a crucial part of my support system. My life was once again put on hold. I had endless time to think about what I had been through and how my life was never going to be the same. And it sucked. There were times when I wondered if it would have been easier if I had died in the plane crash. Would all this pain and suffering be worth it someday? I never got to a point where I wanted to end my life because I knew that there were people that needed me. And I had this feeling that I survived for a reason and that I was going to do big things. And eventually I started to see that. Then I found a woman on social media who started a wheelchair dance team in California. She was beautiful, confident, open about her experiences, and she wasn't solely focused on walking again. I looked at all the women on the dance team, and they all were the same: happy, healthy, independent, and achieving wonderful things. And seeing these role models made me feel like I could achieve things too, that I could still be a dancer, actor, singer from my wheelchair and be successful. Eventually, life started to get better. I got to go back to school, I graduated, and once I got more involved with the Rollettes, I started to see a lot more doors opening for me. I realized that this absolutely was my path, that everything that happened to me was meant to be because of where I am today, and that I was meant to inspire and lead people to reach for their dreams despite their limitations. I've achieved some pretty cool things since moving to LA. I've been a part of national commercials, and I've auditioned for movies and TV shows. With the Rollettes, I've traveled the country, most notably performing in Boston at a Celtics halftime show. I worked really hard at physical therapy, and I did end up achieving my goal of walking down the aisle at my wedding using leg braces and a walker. But most importantly, through all of this experience, I've gotten connected with some amazing people with disabilities that I would never have met if I wasn't on that plane. I hope that none of you have to experience anything like I went through. I'm stronger because of it, and it set me on my path. But what I want you to take away today is I don't want you to feel like you can't relate to my story because you don't have an injury like mine and you don't have a story like mine. What I want you guys to know is I didn't wake up one day and just feel better. I had to and still have to wake up each day and decide to live life without worrying about my disability, what people are thinking as I roll by them, or what my life would be like if I was still walking. I can't think like that because if I spent every day waiting to walk again, I would be miserable. Some days are harder than others, but no matter what the challenge is, we have to rise above. This song I'm going to sing now has been my anthem on some really hard days, and I hope that it speaks to you in the way that it has me. You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in but I promise we'll bring the world to its feet and move mountains. Bring it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other, and we will rise, and we'll rise we'll rise. And I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and we'll do it 1,000 times again. Ooh. That's it. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that my story has impacted you to live your life to the fullest, despite the challenges that you may see ahead of you. And thank you so much to Bright Youth for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful day.